All right, so I've just read some news that I found to be a little bit disturbing, and I'm making this video sort of just impromptu because I felt that something needed to be said, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who comment on this, but whatever, it's important enough to me that I feel like I need to speak with you all about it. So I'm reading this article on USA Today, and it says, at&t, Verizon, Johnson & Johnson, and other major U.S. retailers are pulling hundreds of millions of dollars in business from Google and its video service YouTube, despite the internet giant's pledge this week to keep offensive and extremist content away from ads. Here's what's happening. There are a lot of people on YouTube that are saying things that these companies don't like. And, in fact, a lot of us don't like. So, for example, if somebody from the KKK puts up a video and monetizes it, then ads are going to run on it despite the message that they're saying. If some radical extremist of any faith puts up a video and monetizes it, well, then there are going to be ads that run on it. So what these companies are trying to do is put a stop to that, essentially. But let me posit to you another idea, as it were. I believe what these companies are actually trying to do is take control over what people can post on YouTube and other various Google-related websites. That's honestly what I think this is about. I don't think that this is about necessarily their ads being placed alongside hateful content. I think it's them rallying together to essentially force Google to let them censor YouTube. That's what I think is happening here. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's just say even $500 million or $200 million per year. That money goes a long way towards servicing YouTube's very expensive costs to run. It's very expensive to run YouTube. There's something like, and this is an old number, so I'm sure it's higher now. There's something like 72 hours of video uploaded to YouTube per minute. Imagine what that costs to maintain, to keep all of that, essentially disk space or server space available so that people can keep posting their bullshit. Like me right now. So YouTube's very expensive to run. It's as far as I understand, and I could be wrong about this, but from what I remember reading, YouTube has only very recently become profitable, in that Google had been losing money on YouTube for all these years. And with a lot of the recent changes in monetization and how ad money works, Google's finally started to at least make YouTube like solvent, or at least stable enough that it's paying for itself at this point. So we've all seen recently the sort of outbreak of, if I don't like what you say, you shouldn't be able to say it. We've all seen an outbreak of that sort of attitude recently. And it's an attitude that I very much abhor. I'm not even sure that's a strong enough word for it. Because while I understand that YouTube is not, a federal thing and it doesn't have to abide by the First Amendment, Google can censor whatever they want. The way things have gone generally is that Google tries not to censor things, but will if they have to. And those guidelines of what is censored have become more stringent, more strict over the years. YouTube in its inception, that shit was a fucking circus. But you know what? I loved it because you could find, this is a weird example, I guess, but like, if you wanted to see a man jump to his death, you could do that on YouTube back in the day. You didn't have to go to LiveLeak for that sort of stuff for all you gore heads out there. And it's weird because there's this not balance. It's just weird, okay? Because you can still find some crazy shit on YouTube. You can, but not nearly as much as you could when it first started. So all these companies band together and they're like, you know what? Because Google has been a disruptor for these companies. Google came in the smartphone market and took over with Android. Google's now trying to challenge them and compete with them as far as internet is concerned with things like Google Fiber, their upcoming Google Wi-Fi fiber experience, whatever that's going to be like. So Google's always been pressing people's buttons, but they do that in order to sort of further the development of these companies along. When Google Fiber came out, we immediately saw their competitors, at&t, Time Warner, or Spectrum now, Comcast, significantly lower their prices for top-tier internet only in the areas that Google Fiber is currently, to compete with them. And that's what Google wanted. They want everybody to have affordable internet access, mainly so that Google can serve their ads to you. But now these companies are trying to hit Google where it hurts by pulling their ads so that they can control what Google does. Now, a lot of YouTubers recently, especially, have had a lot of problems with how Google handles like copyright issues and DMCA takedowns. You know, once a strike is made against you or a report is made against you, your shit is shut down, whether it's just a single video or your entire channel, without even a human reviewing it. Now, I understand there's a lot of shit, like I said, 72 hours per minute, probably more, that go up on YouTube every day, and it would be nearly impossible for like a human to watch everything that's happening. You know, so as soon as that DMCA takedown notice is issued, your shit is taken down or your channel is shut down. Later, at some point, hopefully, a human reviews the case and then either says, yeah, your stuff needs to stay shut down, or no, that was a mistake. But in the meantime, you've already lost all traction that your video is ever going to gain, all money that you might have made from it. And and it could take weeks unless you know somebody, unless, you know, Ethan from H3H3 helps you out like he has, like a saint, like the goddamn saint that he is. As a content creator, you're screwed. And now, as much as I do not agree with groups like the KKK or these, you know, alt-right neo-Nazi people who are speaking on YouTube, I mean, it's that old saying, I don't agree with what you say, but I would die to defend your right to say it. Now again, Google doesn't have to abide by the First Amendment, but they've classically, at least mostly, tried to stay true to having a free and open internet experience. The internet's a big place. There's a lot of shit on here. Like Q from Star Trek said, the internet is kind of like space, you know? He said, space, it's wondrous, with treasures to satiate desires both subtle and gross, but it's not for the timid. Now, if you don't want to see hateful shit on the internet, you don't have to. You can scroll right past it. That's the beauty of the mouse. But the fact of the matter is that everybody is on the internet. And there are going to be opinions that you agree with and opinions that you don't agree with. What I think Google should do is stand up for what's right in this situation. And I think clearly what is right is to not give in to these advertisers' demands. Because in the end, AT&T, Verizon, Johnson & Johnson, and these other companies, they're really just shooting themselves in the foot. Google already said, hey, we're going to make sure that your ads are not placed on, you know, what we consider to be hateful content. Okay? If Google wants to not monetize hateful content, I really don't have a problem with that. But these advertisers haven't backed down. What does that say? What does that say? It says what they're after is not really just making sure that their ads aren't placed next to hateful content. What they're after is making sure that they can control, to an extent, what is posted and what is allowed to be posted. That's the fact here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and in between. Google, you used to have a motto, and that motto was, don't be evil. Don't give in to the oligarchs. Don't give in to the big money just because you want their money. That would be evil. Some would argue that it would be evil to allow evil to speak. But that's not the case, and that's actually very un-American. It is very American to let evil speak, to give a voice to everyone, regardless of whether they're good or bad people. So, Google, you got some thinking to do. And I think you know what's right. There's probably two attitudes going on, fighting each other at Google right now. What's right overall and what's right for the business. It might be scary looking at hundreds of millions of dollars lost in ad revenue, maybe even $1 billion lost or more. But what's scarier is these companies taking control of what can and can't be posted on the internet, which we know they've been trying to do. They've been trying to destroy net neutrality so that they can give, preferred speeds and traffic to the sites that they want to be on the internet, that they want to promote. If it were up to AT&T, I'm sure they would eliminate a ton of shit from the internet. If it were up to Verizon, the same. The unfortunate thing about fighting for your content creators is that you're going to have to fight for the content creators you don't agree with. Like right now, I don't like Matt Haas on YouTube. I think he's a piece of shit. But I don't want to take away his ability to post on YouTube, even though he's trying to fuck it up for everybody. Well, now AT&T, Verizon, Johnson & Johnson, they're trying to fuck it up for everybody. They're trying to take control of Google by hanging their money over Google's head. Well, guess what? Google don't need the money. And it may hurt to have YouTube go be a place again where, it's always losing money, when they finally just got things, sort of righted with that. They righted the ship financially. But Google, you need to stand up. You need to stand up for YouTube. You need to stand up for freedom and the American way. Catch you next time. Adios.